I'm making this video for you, Nassim, and just want to let you know I really love listening to you. You've taught me so much. And now I have a request. You sent out a letter saying you would like artwork, and I have artwork. It's not mine, it's what light does. And I don't think a lot of scientists know about this dimension. And I'm just going to take you on a little tour of it through some of the pictures that I have made of this dimension. Now, the artist of this dimension is the light itself. I've been taking pictures of light for a few years now. And the camera I use, for those interested, is the Nikon Coolpix 59700 and a Kodak EasyShare 2710. Very cheap cameras, because you really want the ones that don't have all the filters that filter out all this. Well, they filter out the stuff that we're going to be able to see because it is a cheaper camera. Some of the more expensive ones have filters that won't let you see this world, this dimension. Now, I don't use a flash. I'm usually indoors using a LED light for my source of light, and I focus in real close on a shiny spot from the light shining onto a glass object, such as a glass marble or a glass candlestick holder. And I won't add here that it can be anything that light will shine and make a shiny spot on. It can be made of steel or porcelain, or it can be a leaf off of a tree with light shining really bright in one little spot on the leaf. It can be anything. But I have found that glass works best for showing me what is in light. Now, some people have said this is what is in the marble or in the glass, and I don't think so, because I also see all of these things that are in the orbs and light takes on an orb-like look. But I also see them with the naked eye, without using glass, just looking at light. I see a lot of things that other people don't see, and I used to wouldn't tell anyone about it because they didn't also see it, and they just looked at me like I was crazy, which isn't a good feeling. So I did learn, it just kind of happened on how to take a picture of it just by playing around. I learn a lot that way with play. So I want to show you a series of the kind of orbs that this light makes. I say orbs, but I think these orbs are really just kind of like a looking glass, because it shows a world of light that continues on beyond what you see in the orb. And what you see in the orb is like what you would look at through just a microscope or maybe a telescope that has a little round aperture, and all you see is what's in that aperture. But the scenery goes on and on. And now to show you my next picture. I also can get orbs outdoors with using the sun as the light source. But then I have to make it when the sun is low in the sky, so I get those slanted rays, because too much light and you don't get the orb. And it works better. You see a more defined orb when you're indoors than you do outdoors, because the outdoor ones are pretty see-through. Anyway, this is what the light looks like when it first comes out of the light source. And you see there the typical pink circles that light, when you take a picture of light, makes. I know that a lot of people get this with their cameras. And you might even see, when you're filming this way, some lens flare. But this that's coming out, this orb, it's not lens flare. It is, I think, a light photon. And I can make this little orb of light go right back into the light by just moving my camera, and then come back out again. But once it comes out, it doesn't stay in that shape. Once it comes out, it moves and it moves sort of worm-like, ribbon-like, and it folds at one end or it folds completely all together. I've got many pictures. See, this is a closer up one. And you can see within the body of this that it's showing what I believe. Now, other people may have a different idea, but I believe this is what is in empty space. The things these orbs and the light of them shows, as you will see in the succeeding pictures. Beautiful colors. I have so many just as beautiful as this one. Beautiful, beautiful orbs. Further out from the light source, the orb is round. Especially if you're using a round object of glass, you're going to get a round orb. But I have used some other glass objects that gave me more shapes other than round. But it does not have to stay round. Now, this is an orb too, and look what it did. It went off in 3 directions. They can move so many ways, the light in these. And these orbs of light, I don't know what's going on in them. But apparently this one seems to be all busted up at the top, like it's exploding out of there. But I've seen so many orbs that just their colors that are in them, they just exchange with one another. And every spot of light is like an orb. And there's sometimes I have in view many of them at the same time. And I see their interactions with each other. Sometimes, and this looks like a grove of trees, sometimes the orb will do something like this. I know that looks strange. It doesn't even look like an orb, but this is a picture of the light that I've taken. Always they have inside them these little circles that you see here. And also with this particular camera, which is the Kodak EasyShare, I'm sure there's some debris caught up in there. But the strange thing is that the debris, the little spots that you see, I'll show you one up close, like this one. That's my double jointed artifact. I call them artifacts. And this is my little fairy one. You can't see her too good because she's usually always very dark. And there's one over here on this side. There's one right there behind that P. And there's one right up here. A long one. And there's just all kinds of them. Oops, I went too fast. I wanted to show you them, a few of them. There's so many I can't show you them all. But I'll show you a few of the artifacts. And the strange thing about them is they must be stuck in my camera because they're always in the same place on the picture. But they look like some of the things that I see in orbs, which is very strange. I can't explain it. There's another artifact. There's the double jointed one. And I've seen this same kind of thing in other orb pictures. That is what is stuck in this camera. I see an example of this same sort of looking thing. And there's one I call the little fairy because she looks like a little fairy flying over. And but mostly she's in the dark on most pictures. I have to lighten it up around her to get her shape. This strange thing showed up in one of my orb pictures. It looks like a tail of something. But I get this quite a lot, this sort of thing covering the orb. Now this is inside, really close. I got so far inside you can't see hardly the outside edges of the orb. But the colors are just like wonderful. They're magnificent colors, and sometimes they're very fluorescent colors. Now this one camera, the one that has the artifacts in it. Also, when I take a picture of an orb with this particular camera, it puts 2 little eye sockets. I'm pointing to a couple of them here. And into each and every orb. Now I thought, well, that can't be something stuck in my camera doing that, because How could it put something in the same place inside of each orb? And even if the orb is folded over somewhat, you can still see that those two little eye sockets are there. Don't ask me what it is. And the colors that I say one orb just lends its colors to another orb. Well, the colors, the orb is really just an outline of a viewing device to see this world of color. Because actually these things are just everywhere out there, and I just get a portion of what is in that particular dimension. The colors are fluid-like. See how that just seems to spill over this orb here, and it goes up a little bump there, it looks like. Ripples in it and all kinds of things. And all of this just in the space that's inside my room. Here's one picture that turned out to be like a textbook example of the different ways that the orb can fold. All of these are orbs. And one of them's folded rather tightly, and then this one here is folded a lot less tightly. They can be like a thin beam of light, or they can be like a round orb, or they can be like they look here. Like they're folding up into an envelope or something. I get this kind of thing in my orbs a lot, and I have an idea what it might be. This is my idea because I was looking on my computer at different scientists talking about, you know, all kinds of things. You're one of them that I listen to. But this one is an example of hydrogen wave function. Well, all these little colorful little examples of wave function I get inside of the orbs. I'll be showing you them. See, like here's one right here. This one. It looks like I could be looking at hydrogen, looking at the wave function of hydrogen. And there's many varieties, and in the example on that website they showed one of the examples of the hydrogen with a light behind it, making it go all different kinds of colors, which was their way of animating it. But when I'm looking at these, the colors are changing all the time. So it really seems like to me that I'm looking at hydrogen. Here's another example of one. And then this other this little lattice part here, I have a theory of what that is too. But this right here up above it looks to be the hydrogen wave function. Now, all the time I'm getting these bands of color across the orb. Well, these bands go real far. I've followed them using my camera. In the movie mode, I just follow the band, and it just goes all over the place. This is just a portion of what one orb is showing of that band of color. And I get some magnificent colors. Now, here's some more what I call the little hydrogen orbital pattern. There's two of them there. Okay, you know the saying, light is a particle. No, light is a wave. Well, this looks just like a wave. So I say, light is a particle, light is a wave, and light is many other things, because everything is light, according to Walter Russell, who I read a lot of his books on my channel. Light can look like this. Light is a whirlybird, see? I just had a little fun here. Light can look like fabric, and this looks like that old-timey kind of fabric called corduroy. Used to be popular when I was young. Don't see it much anymore. Light can look like lace. And this tube-like thing seems to be going around the orb to the other side. And you can see it on the edge here. I get a lot of tubes, bumpy little lumpy tubes, and many, many circles. And I'll bring this in close so you see there's tiny, tiny little circles in the background of this. Very many of them. I got this one time only when I first started taking pictures of orbs, and I thought, wow, look what it did. That is so artistic and beautiful, because light just carries so many colors, and all this happening invisibly in front of us. Anywhere there's light, anywhere there's space, I think there's all this stuff in it. And then light will do this little thing, twisting itself and looking like this. Now, this was an article. I took a picture off of the computer screen, and this is what they call self-propelling subatomic particles. And I thought, well, that looks a whole lot like what I'm getting in my orbs, and I will show you. My next orb picture is something exactly like that. This weaving action that the colors do with one another is the self-propelling, I guess. I really don't know what I'm looking at, but I know it's not caustics. I've been told it's so many things that, you know, people don't want to believe it could be something from another dimension. That's why I'm sending this to you, Nassim, because you can imagine that, I'm sure, because you can think outside the box. Here's another picture. I have many like this. More of the self-propelling action of a subatomic particle. And here's another one. This orb has lots of them in it. Well, let me get on. And now there's this stuff that seems to be circling this orb like a band. It's a darker colored stuff. And when I see my third eye outside of my body, I don't have a picture. I did have one. I didn't put it in with this. But I see like two flaps that open and close with my natural eye. So I think it's my third eye. And these little clusters of this kind of looking little stuff form on the flaps and go out into a big orb that I also see that has all this stuff in it. I know that sounds kind of crazy, and that's what I wouldn't talk about to people because I couldn't show it to them. But I kind of think of this as thought bubbles, that our thoughts are actually a thing that can be seen in this kind of dimension. And I have lots of pictures of that sort of thing. See how flexible this orb is? See how it just bends like it was plastic or something, you know, real soft plastic. And look at this one, it's falling over, making a little spiky crest, like a crest of a wave look. They're contortionists, these orbs are. They can do so many things. Here's another one of the worm-looking things going through it. Now, this pattern, inside this, and it looks kind of like a cocoon, and it kind of looks like one of these little ball things are emerging from the cocoon at the top there. And I see these little curved lined balls. That's what I've come to call them. I see them in a lot of other pictures of orbs that I have. And at first, when I see them, they look like a little X. Now see, they're in this one. They're in this orb as well. And this is just a real pretty orb. I wanted to stick this here because the color is so magnificent. I should have someone help me make a book of pictures of orbs, because I have some doozies. Here's another one. The colors just invite you to want to look at them and look at them. And the orbs show that there's lines or connecting little white streaks of lines that move net-like throughout the orb. And here I just say something about, wow, you know, these pictures are so good. Anybody who wants to help me make a book, you could make some money. Not that I've ever made any money off of this, but I'm just having so much fun looking at it and telling people about it. That seems to be most important to me. But Money wouldn't hurt. I wouldn't mind having a little. But here's another one. And those lines change. They're just, everything in the orb, you'll see, it's in constant movement. If I have time, I'm going to show you a video. I got 6 minutes left on this. This is some of that little thought bubble stuff surrounding an orb, and there's some that's on this orb. And there's some belting another orb around the middle. There's just so many photos I have, probably thousands. And this is an orb showing another orb kind of just slithering down it like it was liquid. And I'll just show you a few of the other orb pictures I picked out of thousands to look at. The orb can also look all spastic and just all over the place. I got several pictures like this. And one day in August of 2013, I started seeing this kind of a lumpy ring. It came in, and lately it's back. And here's a picture of one of the more recent pictures I have of that ring, that lumpy ring. And light will make a fan. It just fans out like a fan. That's one picture of that. And this particular orb has a big old circle, a big round black hole in it. And you can see these little X-looking things that I'm showing you. Well, these little things, I can see them when I put a little of my own saliva onto the glass. I see these little X's, and they morph into the curved line balls that you saw in some of the other photos. Here's one already beginning to do that right there and there. But I don't have no idea what the circle, the dark circle is. It just appeared there. I will show you a few others. And then okay, there's this curved line ball starting to form. And, oh, they get so much color in them too. Here's an orb that's twisting in the middle, doing the twist. They are contortionists for sure. And here's one, I took this several years ago. This shows how they're so flexible, they can just bend in all kinds of ways, and there's a little X in that, probably was going to make the curved line balls, whatever they are. This is from the middle of an orb. I didn't get the outside edges, but see how beautiful the colors can be. And see, the colors are like living things. Well, the whole orb, this whole world seems to be alive. It pulses, it changes colors, it flashes, and it looks like with this one, let me pull this up so you can see this. The colors, that's not showing in my camera too good. Well, the colors just seem to be falling over the edge of it. Kind of like that movie, What Dreams May Come, with Robin Williams. Now, this is a character. This is a light creature, I do believe. Although he could be debris in that camera, but I really don't think so. But I've given him a name because I see him so often. He just keeps popping into the orbs, either from the side or from the top or even from the bottom. He just pops in, and I call him Harry because he reminds me of a little hairy spider. I only got this one time, the light doing something like this. Really strange looking. And these orbs can look like they have caves in them. And all of this right in the space in front of us, that these orbs are in a dimension that is without mass, because I can put my hand right where this is. Although maybe, I don't know if it's actually occurring right in front of me or what. I get a lot of orbs with violet in them, and a lot of these little tube-looking things are in many of my orb pictures. There's Harry again. And there's just so many ways. I'm going rather fast now because I want to show you a video. And I don't have many minutes left on this. particular one. See how that looks like lace? That looks like water. I'm going to get this video going. Okay, moving over here. This I call a trip into a light fractal. It's one of the videos I have on my YouTube channel. And I'm just making it in real time, you know, and moving the camera and the glass around in the light that is coming from the LED light in my room. I go into different parts of the room where it shines to see that this is just a continuation of what looks like light being like a fractal. And I've got 1 minute left. I want to take you to a part of it. I might not be successful at this. This part I might have gone past it, where I show the glass implement that I'm using. I zoom way back so that it's just in normal. It's not in close focus, but it's a normal focus. And you can see it's just a shiny part. See if I can find where I did that. Okay, there you go. This is where I zoom out, and you see it's just a little glass candlestick holder, and there's my LED light in the background. And then now I zoom back in on the shiny spot on the glass. That is where these are. We need to be looking into things that shine because that's a concentration of light, and light is what we are. Everything is light, and everything is illusion. According to Walter Russell, I read a lot of his words, and so much of what I see makes me believe that some of the things he had to say were absolutely true.